Hi, my name is Samantha Chavez, and we are going to be talking about cocaine and its addictive properties. So, according to a study done by Roque Bravo, cocaine is a dangerously addictive drug because of the pleasurable effects it has on the brain. Cocaine blocks voltage-gated sodium channels, the reuptake of dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. This leads to more dopamine in the brain. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. It's a chemical messenger that functions as a reward and pleasure, motivation, and reinforcement. Because of these positive effects, cocaine can become addictive. With regular cocaine use, tolerance builds up over time, and addicts can start to mix with other drugs, even alcohol. When you mix cocaine with alcohol, it becomes more toxic in a person. And according to the Hanley Recovery Center, symptoms of cocaine addiction are anxiety, paranoia, mood swings, insomnia, panic attacks, and cognitive impairment.
Hi guys, I'm Daniel. I'll be going with the street names and cost of cocaine, and then some of its history. So, because cocaine has two forms, a powdered form and then also a rock form called crack cocaine, there's a lot of names for cocaine on the street. So, for example, a lot of them can be like blow, Florida snow, you know, rock and moon rock for crack cocaine, and then also because it can be mixed with other drugs like heroin and marijuana, fentanyl. There's a lot of names in addition to that when they're mixed with these other drugs. That's according to the Bedrock Recovery Center. So, according to addictionresources.net, the street cost for cocaine can be $60 to $110 per gram in the powdered form, and the crack form, the rock-like form, can be up to $60 per gram. It's a lot cheaper than the powdered form. So, according to the American Addiction Center, cocaine kind of does have a rich history. It started off as an extraction from the coca plant in South America. Natives kind of used it as a drug uh, against fatigue. And then after the Spaniards came to South America, and then in the 1900s, cocaine picked up in popularity for medicinal and then recreational use. But in the early 1900s, medical professionals became alarmed about cocaine's negative effects, and so its use recreationally was banned in 1914. So its popularity kind of died down after this ban until the 1970s and 1980s, where cocaine like kind of blew up in popularity. After this like explosion of popularity, crack cocaine was invented, the rock form of cocaine. This was a cheaper form of cocaine. So we have this 2 minute video that also explains the effects of cocaine.
Welcome to 2 Minute Neuroscience, where I simplistically explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss the effects of cocaine on the brain. Cocaine is a strong stimulant that can cause a range of effects, including increased energy, alertness, and euphoria, along with an elevated heart rate and other sympathetic nervous system responses. Cocaine also has a high potential for abuse and inclines users towards compulsive administration of the drug. Although all the details of how cocaine produces its effects are not known, it is thought that the main mechanism by which cocaine acts on the brain is through the inhibition of the reuptake of neurotransmitters called monoamines. Monoamines are a group of neurotransmitters that includes dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. Reuptake is a method of removing neurotransmitters from the synaptic cleft between neurons. When reuptake is inhibited, it causes increased levels of neurotransmitters in the synaptic cleft. Cocaine inhibits reuptake by blocking the action of the proteins known as transporters that are normally responsible for it. By blocking monoamine transporters and inhibiting monoamine reuptake, cocaine causes levels of dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin to increase in the brain, enhancing the activity of these neurotransmitters at their receptors. Although cocaine increases levels of dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, it is not very clear what the individual contribution of each of these neurotransmitters is to the effects of the drug. However, it is generally thought that cocaine's action at dopamine receptors is most important for making cocaine rewarding and promoting the compulsive use of the drug. The mesocortical and mesolimbic dopamine pathways, which are sometimes called the mesocorticolimbic dopamine pathway, are pathways that are rich in dopamine neurons. They project from a dopamine-rich region in the brainstem called the ventral tegmental area to a variety of locations in the limbic system and frontal cortex. These areas include a region called the nucleus accumbens, which is considered important to addiction and is activated whenever we do something rewarding. Thus, when someone uses cocaine, dopamine activity along the mesocorticolimbic pathway is increased, causing dopamine levels to rise in regions like the nucleus accumbens.
Hi, my name's Isabel, and today I am going to be talking about the history of cocaine part 2. So, in the 2000s, global coca, which is the plant of the cocaine, cultivation decreased by 28% from 2000 and 2009, mainly due to reductions in Colombia, although productions rose in Peru and Bolivia. Cocaine market value remained high around $85 billion in 2009. Cocaine use stabilized or declined in traditional markets like in the US, but trafficking routes shifted and became more widespread. Okay, so now that I spoke about cocaine in the 2000s, now I'm going to be talking about cocaine in the 2010s. Cocaine production and trafficking stayed strong, with rising seizures and new markets emerging. About 21 million people were estimated to have used cocaine by 2020. Cocaine use expanded outside the Americas and Europe and spreading into Africa and Asia. So now we're going to be talking about the modern day. Coca, which was the plant, cultivation and cocaine production have hit records high with a 30% surge in just 1 year within 2020 and 2021. Seizures and global trafficking dominate headlines. Cocaine is now more globally distributed than ever. Public health strategies struggle to keep up with this rapid expansion. In conclusion, cocaine production and use have continually evolved across decades. Understanding this history, it helps us see the global nature of drug challenges today and why strong public health and policy responses are crucial. And this is the source that I use. It's United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. And these are our references as well. We have the American Addiction Centers. We have Why is Cocaine So Addictive? We have a list of common cocaine street names. We have an update overview on chemistry detection. We have that one. And then we have United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime.